Still talking about the effects, unfortunately, that this has had on the economy. A House of Representatives member, Honorable Sada Soli, has cautioned that the lifting of the ban on foreign exchange for 43 items by the Central Bank of Nigeria may ruin the local economy. In a review of the recent decision by the Apex Bank to lift the foreign exchange ban on toothpicks, rice, palm kernel, processed vegetable products, and other items.
The invitation comes barely after SBM Intelligence, a leading research and risk consultancy firm in Nigeria, has stated that Nigeria's economy is on warning status as it's ranked 60% in the economy macro risk indicators. Despite the warnings, Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has, of course, assured Nigerians that investors are available, and of course, there's an ongoing plan to boost the country's foreign exchange liquidity. To look at the intensely dwindling state of the giant of Africa's economy, we have investment banker and public affairs analyst Nnaemeka Obiaraeri. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us this morning, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you. Just a few hours ago, the Nigerian president, of course, once again announced more deals have been signed, more maybe not loans, but some level of billions of dollars in investment in Nigeria's power sector and the likes. The dollar, of course, has also fallen to 1,210. Some say even up to 1,250. So it's mixed, reactions from the country's economy at this point. Do you think that we will catch a breath anytime soon?
Mosage, the truth is, what basically we're trying to do here is to apply an elixir to a problem that requires proper cure. And that proper cure is to tackle the root cause of that problem. And tackling the root cause of that problem is tackling the supply side of the dollar in a very sustainable and transparent manner. Now, I want us to look back where we are today. Currently in the banking industry, there are over $10 billion unpaid letter of credit obligations that are due to creditors which the Central Bank of Nigeria could not deliver. What it simply means is that manufacturers, customers of banks, clients that took letters of credit, that took products, commodities from foreign creditors, and when the dollar to naira was 430 and they were supposed to have repaid those monies since last year, the CBN could not deliver the dollar. What it simply means that as long as that space is open, those customers are suffering heavy losses, and those heavy losses, as long as of today, you said it's not 1,210, dollar is almost at about 1,296. Those customers that contributed transactions as at 430 naira to $1 are carrying additional FX losses of over 700 naira to $1. So, assuming they manufactured and they made a profit of 10% or 20%, 30%, today their profit had been eroded and they are carrying a hole of almost about 300%. We don't know where to get the money to pay. So basically, what you see putting pressure on the dollar, are three factors. This issue of customers of banks looking for dollar by all means to pay down their obligations is number one. Number two, speculation. The average Nigerian investor have lost so much confidence on the ability of the government to revive the situation. So everybody is trying to hedge as much as possible. Dollar has actually become an asset to most Nigerians instead of a currency. Number three, the issue of corruption demand for the dollar. We are looking at the federal side alone. What of the state governors and the local government operators? Basically, as long as we refuse to tackle corruption in Nigeria, which has actually been on the rise, as they get the FAC and JAC allocation, because of the devalued value of the naira, as they receive their billions and trillions of naira allocation, most of them run to BDCs and other sources to look for dollar. And the corruption demand and speculative demand for dollar push almost about 60% pressure on the dollar demand. To be able to tackle this issue, it's very simple. The Central Bank of Nigeria and the federal government should go and look for where they will get at least $30 to $40 billion inflow into Nigeria. Selling assets will be difficult because it will take time to sell the assets. Like the refineries will have to be sold, and most of the assets that are movable are not producing. But that one will take time. The other option will be to borrow against futures. And what is if they can raise about 30 to 40 billion into this economy? first of all, use about 10 to 20 billion to wipe out the existing letter of credit obligations for maturing obligation that matured since August last year, which CBN could not deliver. If they could do this, basically what it simply means that manufacturers, traders, and every other players in this economy will be on an even keel. What it simply means that the real demand for dollar pressure will be eliminated. Now we can now face the corruption demand for the dollar and speculation. And again, the government must be as much as possible to be very transparent and as much as possible try and tackle two issues: corruption and insecurity. Somebody said here the other time, oh, most of the things we are consuming here, we can easily produce it, but we are importing them. And I say to them, the environment here, as much as most of us are so passionate, we know that Nigerians tick the right boxes. Some of us are entrepreneurs. I'll give you an example. In 2016, I mobilized a group of entrepreneurs to go to the Southeast to develop the palm value chain. Between 2016 to 2022, we lost over 300 million naira to insecurity, to banditry, to criminality. Factories that were built, farm settlements that were developed, over 60 hectares. Overnight, we are raised down by bandits. Nobody was arrested. Nobody was prosecuted. If indigenous domestic investors could suffer such losses and they are scared of going back to their communities, to their localities to go and invest, how do you now convince a foreign investor who is not a resident of Nigeria, hearing the stories that is taking place in Nigeria? Gino went to Kebbi to develop the tomato value chain. Gino lost so much, they were even lucky to extract their expatriates from Kebbi State when the bandits attacked. So basically, we have an economy that can easily produce and export nothing less than $350 billion worth of goods and services annually. But we must do the right things, set the right steps, carry out massive monetary, physical, constitutional reforms, electoral reforms, institutional reforms. Let there be transparency. Once the global world sees clear that we are very honest and sincere in systematically, scientifically tackling most of the issues we have in Nigeria, investors will flow in. And when the investors flow in, dollar will flow in. When dollar flows in and Nigerians are actively engaged in economic activities 24/7, Naira will be stabilized. It does not matter whether Naira is doing 1,320 to $1 or 1,000 Naira to $1. The most important that we must take every scientific and honest steps to build up an economy that is productive and not the one that is rent-seeking and criminally based.
You've talked about a number of reforms that need to be made, financial, monetary policies, and a number of reforms that need to be made for us to be able to achieve the economy that we so desire. Now, one of the steps taken by the CBN governor, Mr. Nnaemeka, would be that he lifted the ban on the importation of FX for 43 items. Different people have reacted differently to this. Some people think that it would have little or no effect in improving the economy or in reducing the cost of food, and some others think it's a fantastic idea. And I'd like to find out your thoughts on this as well.
Let me tell you this. I feel so sorry for Nnaemeka. Nnaemeka is a very beautiful investment banker. But the challenge here is that there is a limit to what Nnaemeka can do from the monetary policy. When I heard the uproar, he lifted a ban on importation of vegetable oil. Let me tell you, Nigeria as a country, like I explained to you, over the last 5 years, we imported over $600 billion naira worth of palm oil products. We import annually over $1 billion worth of dairy products, things that we can easily produce here. It's not the fault of Nnaemeka that we are importing those things. Even if we shut those things down from being imported through the formal sources, those who are importing it will still source for dollar through the informal sector. And when the informal sector, the dollar pricing is there, those who have dollar in the formal sector will try to move it into that informal sector. So it's a catch-22 situation. Rather than blame Nnaemeka, what he did is very right. What we should do, like I said, is to put in place the physical and security measures to ramp up production of what we can produce here competitively. I'll give you an example: the vegetable oil and the palm oil that we'll import here. Nigeria is the only place created by God where the palm oil grows in the wild, the palm tree grows in the wild. 80 years ago, Indonesia and Malaysia came to Nigeria to pick our palm seedlings and modified it into the Dera and Super Gene. Today, they control 85% of the global crude palm oil market of $72 billion. Indonesia alone makes about $38 billion. Nigeria is actually supposed to be in place of Indonesia because after 1965, we controlled 45% of the global crude palm oil market. Why did we slack? People like Michael Obara developed 214-kilometer industrial corridor, did a resettlement and a palm settlement of almost about 5,000 hectares. But one, Obasanjo developed most of the palm settlement we have today, from Okomu to Presco to Imo. What are the current governments of the doing at the state level? We did a proposal. I am a chairman of one of the biggest agro companies in the whole of the Southeast Farms. We did a proposal on a private-public arrangement, how we can work with the state governments in the South to develop nothing less than 100,000 hectares of the new palm plantation, the Tehara and Super Gin plantation. We even volunteered to set up factories in every local government area in Imo State and Abia State, in Enugu, Anambra, and Ebonyi State. What stalled that project? We lost so much money. We first of all in an agro park of almost 300,000 tenera species, the palm trees that the Malaysians and Indonesians use. Overnight, bandits from Ebonyi State came and destroyed everything. The remaining were stolen by unknown gunmen. And the truth is, if we have security today, in the next 3 years, and we apply this principle, the southeast of Nigeria alone can easily generate about $5 billion. We from the palm value chain, producing enough palm oil, palm kernel oil, vegetable oil, to satisfy the whole market in Nigeria. We consume over 2.5 million tons of palm oil. The only thing we produce is about 1,050,000 tons. The rest are imported either from Cote d'Ivoire, from Malaysia, or from every part of the world where we have even competitive advantage. What does it take to cover that supply chain? Nothing. Involve the communities, they own the land. Help them to get the seedlings, which we have done. Set up factories, which we are willing to do. We set up 3 factories. 3 we are burnt. So how do you? The governments are not doing anything. They are not providing security. They are not providing the physical environment. The private sector people in this space, some of us who are so passionate about this land, who decided to bring in our investors into Nigeria, brought in our money, and it was destroyed. Our bulldozers were burnt. Everything was destroyed. As of today, nobody was arrested. Nobody was prosecuted. The justice administrative system in Nigeria has been so bastardized. Nobody is even sure if you go to court, you will get justice. In fact, the court system has become a place where criminals will tell you go to court because they are sure of purchasing justice. So the situation here is beyond Cardoso. Cardoso is a good investment banker, a good CBN governor. There is a limit to what Cardoso can do. The problem we have in Nigeria, 90% is from the physical side. The governors, the presidency, the local government chairman not doing what they're supposed to do. As of 1960 to 1966, we had a physical, constitutional, governance and resource control framework that worked so well for Nigeria, where every state, where every region was so productive. Today, what we have is people going to Abuja to share the lecture that they receive from the Niger Delta oil after they've stolen almost 50% of it from the Greeks, and they're coming to share the same money and use the same money to pursue dollar. That is the truth. We should even stop focusing mostly on the federal government. We should be looking at the states and looking at what they are doing. The truth is, what Nnaemeka also did is what he's supposed to do. Our focus should be the members of the House of Rep who are inviting Nnaemeka. What did they do? All our roads are like that trap. There is no federal highway that is working. Have they invited the Minister for Works? Have they invited FEMA? Have they declared emergency? They collected SUVs of 160 million naira each when there are no roads in Nigeria to ply those SUVs. What they do is chase shadows, try to harass those who are doing what they are supposed to do, and then not doing what they themselves are supposed to do. Nigeria is in a fixed state because we have people at the 3 arms of government who are not doing what they are supposed to do, who are only in government for what they can loot, what they can steal, and what they can put in their pocket, and which is so unfortunate.
All right. Mr. Obiaraeri, from your thoughts, it doesn't seem like Nigerians will be smiling anytime soon. The government, of course, has made its promises, but, Nigerians are used to promises. We hope, that we see better moves and better, steps being taken, but we would like to speak with you again. Thank you very much for your time this morning. We'd like that you enjoy your Wednesday for the rest of today.
Thank you. Thank you, Asage. Thank you so much.
All right.